Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your 2019 extensive astrology horoscope with me, Marina. Today, we are going to talk about the most important events, astrological influences, and everything that you should know about during 2019, specifically for your sign. So, prepare for a lot of information. We are going to cover many things including the social planets Jupiter, Saturn, and their transits, the position of the lunar nodes in your chart, the eclipses, and how they affect your zodiac sign. Of course, the impact of the outer planets, which are the most important one. After that, we are going to talk about the transits of Mars and the Sun, of course, Mercury retrograde, the ruler of your sign, which is so important for you. We are going to talk specifically about concrete periods and in which signs Mercury will be retrograde so that you will know how it can affect your sign. Also, we are going to talk about the transits of Venus, which are the most pleasant part because they will show you the most positive impacts or how you can plan important, nice events like celebrations, like trips, and other things which are supposed to be fun and pleasant. So we are going to cover many things. It will take some time, so please be patient. And also, of course, you can always come back to my channel, watch the video again for additional information or for more details. Also, let me remind you that the 2019 astrology calendar is available. You can find the link below the video. In this calendar, you will find more information about heliacal phases of planets and also interpretation of different aspects with the concrete dates when the certain aspect occurs, and also lunations, eclipses, and more. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're excited because I expect that 2019 should be very positive. First of all, because numerologically, the year is ruled by Jupiter. 2019 equals 3, and in astrology, we relate this number to the influence of Jupiter. And as we know, Jupiter is the great benefactor, the planet which can bring you rewards, which can bring you positive circumstances and support and prosperity. And that's why this is a great influence. Also, Jupiter this year will be very, very strong. Jupiter is in Sagittarius until December. So basically, this is something which happens once in 12 years. And it's extremely positive because Jupiter is in the right place, in the sign when it can be the most generous with us. So another thing that we need to know is that also Saturn is extremely strong for the same reason. Saturn is also in the sign of its rulership, Capricorn. So basically, we begin the year with the two social planets in the signs of their rulership. This can bring more positive results. This can bring stable results thanks to Saturn. At the same time, opportunities for expansion. So I think that the year can be very, very supportive. Of course, for different people, it might be related to different areas. And specifically for Virgo, the transit Jupiter will be in your fourth house. Fourth house is one of the important houses in the chart because it's a cardinal house. Jupiter transiting here can really bring you opportunities or positive circumstances related to your home or the place where you are living. This is a great time when you may, for example, move to a new place. You can buy property or you can invest in property. These are also options with Jupiter in fourth house. Or some people may settle down. This is also a helpful transit if you would like to have a child. Even for that, Jupiter in fourth house is positive because it can bring more members into the family. And for some people, it's having a new child. For other people, it could be a relative coming home and living with you. Or in some way, something positive happens. In some cases, of course, you can expect that you will move to a better place, that it will be, you know, a bigger place, more comfortable. In other cases, it could be the same place where you are, but how you feel about it or other circumstances change, and you are capable of enjoying this area more. Jupiter in fourth house is also great for improving your relationship with family members, especially if you have some kind of conflicts or challenging situations and you want to improve this, you want to solve those issues. Jupiter in fourth house can help you for that as well. And also, as we said, property issues are related to fourth house as well. So Jupiter can bring you positive events, can bring you sometimes inheritances. In other cases, you may buy your own home. So the things that are happening in your personal life are really, really important. Okay, so let's see. Another thing we shouldn't forget about fourth house. Fourth house is also about our emotions. This is basically the deepest place in our soul. So it's related to experiences or emotions which are really personal. Jupiter in fourth house can also help you to reconnect to yourself, to pay more attention to your emotions and how you feel, and find ways to improve this condition. So don't neglect this. Jupiter is not only about material stuff, but it can also make you feel more optimistic and be more positive. So generally, we can say a great influence. Now, the other social planet, Saturn. Saturn will be in your fifth house during 2019. Saturn generally is your friend. Now, first of all, Virgo is an earth sign. Virgo is a very practical sign, very grounded sign, and the nature of Saturn is very close to you. On top of that, during 2019, Saturn will make positive aspect with your sign. There will be a trine, which is very positive, very harmonious. So, especially if you have your sun or ascendant here between the 12th and the 22nd degree in Virgo, it means that Saturn will make trine with your sun or ascendant sign, which is very harmonious, very supportive. It can help you to become more responsible. It can help you to achieve something material, to especially if you're responsible, especially if you want to organize something, to plan something, to structure certain activities or yourself or projects. This aspect from Saturn is very, very helpful. Also, when Saturn is in your fifth house, of course, it affects your romantic life. It affects your communication with children. It could be related also to creative projects and creativity in general, and basically how you take a rest, how you enjoy your life. With Saturn in fifth house, things might be more serious. It means that, for example, you may have more responsibilities with your children. It doesn't need to be something suppressing, something bad, something challenging. After all, Saturn is trining your sign. Also, we remember that Jupiter is in fourth house, and in some way, fourth and fifth house are connected. Uh, Fourth house is about your home and all kinds of family members. Fifth house is your children. So from one side, you may really enjoy to spend more time at home, to improve your relationship with family members. And you may also have more responsibilities with your children. For example, they may need help at school, or you may want to teach them on something. Or some people may become brand new parents. This is also an option. And keep in mind, here what's important is that basically the ruler of the house comes back to this house. The same is true for Jupiter, and the same is true for Saturn. So this is not just Saturn transiting fifth house. This is the ruler of your fifth house coming back home. And as you know, this is something which happens once in 28, 30 years. So not so common, not so, a regular event. And for some people, this may also represent that they will become parents. Of course, if you're a brand new parent when Saturn is in your fifth house, your attitude towards children is probably very serious. You might be extremely responsible. You may need to give up from some of your entertainments. With Saturn in fifth house, you may need to prepare for that. And it doesn't have to be in a bad way, in a difficult way. You may want to make those steps because you want that, because you have other plans. And generally, the topic about entertainments, having fun, or wasting your time might be unacceptable for you. You may try to be more organized, get more work done, maybe take care of family and children instead of, for example, going out or wasting time. Now, talking about your romantic life, Saturn in fifth house sometimes can bring possible distance. So it might be more difficult for you to open up emotionally. This might be a challenge. But at the same time, if you have a new relationship, a new romantic interest towards someone else, with Saturn, probably things will be really serious. They may take more time, so don't expect things to happen fast or immediately. With Saturn, usually it's difficult, but the positive side of Saturn is that it can bring you stability. So probably if you're interested in having a new relationship or romantic relationship especially, with Saturn, maybe the opportunities won't be so many, but Saturn will help you to attract quality partners who have serious interest. There might be only one person with Saturn, but probably he will be a responsible, a mature person, someone who would like to have a committed relationship or something like that. So my point is, excuse me, my point is that with Saturn in fifth house, it doesn't necessarily mean that you won't have love or that you will be disappointed. Here we need to analyze other things, what's going on with the other planets. But generally speaking, Saturn may bring you more serious attitude towards your love life, towards partners. You may not want to waste time with people who are superficial or who are not ready to commit. You may lose interest in those type of relationships. And if you're a creative person or if you're an artist, Saturn in fifth house also can bring you serious attitude towards your work, towards the creative process, and things will happen here with more efforts, with more work. Sometimes people may feel stuck with this position, especially in terms of creativity and art, because generally Saturn doesn't support creativity. Saturn is about being practical, being rational, being reasonable. But if you are really hardworking and consistent, or maybe if you're an artist or a creative person who is not so grounded, Saturn actually can help you. And what Saturn can help you also is to materialize your creative ideas or your inspiration, which can also be a challenge for many artists. So, as I repeat quite often, it depends on us how we are using the energy of the planets. Everything can be both positive or negative depending on how we are connecting with this energy. So, as we can see, the main focus is on your personal life. Fourth and fifth house are activated by Jupiter and Saturn. Also, another thing that we should know about is that the South Node during 2019 will be in Capricorn together with Saturn. So basically, we are not talking only about Saturn in your fifth house, but we are also talking about the South Node being there as well. And the South Node also has a similar impact like Saturn. And it shows you area of your life where you need to give up from something. And in this case, I would say that the best thing you can do is to give up from some kind of activities, or in some cases, hobbies or things that you are doing which are not so meaningful. This can be very, very helpful for you in order to avoid more challenging influences from this combination. For some people also, If you're in a romantic relationship which is not stable or which is not meaningful, those indications, Saturn and the South Node, may destroy or force you to end up the relationship. Of course, if things are stable, if that's the right person, if you're in the right relationship, you shouldn't be worried about Saturn. Saturn and also the outer planets, everything in astrology, destroys only things that need to let go. So don't be worried about this, but keep in mind, your main focus shouldn't be so much on entertainment or having fun. Or also, another thing about fifth house is our ego, our personal desires. And with the North Node, on the other hand, in your 11th house, basically, this is where you should focus more. The North Node is considered to have a similar influence like Jupiter, which means that you might be more successful. You may achieve something positive if you focus here, 11th house, instead of 5th house. Which means that, first of all, you need to be more a team player instead of a single player. 5th house is about our ego and our personal desires. 11th house is the area where we are part of community. So focus on this area, on 11th house, on communication with other people, on communicating with others as equal. In 11th house, there are no people with more power or, people who control the situation. 11th house represents community where people are equal. So try to communicate with others as equal, even if you are supposed to be, the leading person, even if you have more power and control. Try to, find solutions which will be positive for everyone. And in this way, you will achieve more for yourself as well. So friendships, group activities, being a team player, focusing on some kind of social goals. 11th house is also related to our ideals. So during this year, you may focus on something which is very important for you, some kind of idea that you want to achieve that has a social impact on others as well. Okay, and now here we need to talk about also about the eclipses. The eclipses are considered to be karmic because they occur when we have a new moon or a full moon, which also includes the lunar nodes. The first one during 2019 is on the 5th of January, 16 degrees in Capricorn. Here, the important thing is that the South Node is in conjunction with the Sun and the Moon. So here, during this time or around this period, you may need to give up from something. You may realize that something needs to be ended. It could be some kind of activity or hobby which you don't have time for. It could be a relationship or romantic interest which is not meaningful. Or, for example, you may realize that the other person is rejecting you and it's time for you to move on. It depends on the other things which are happening in your chart, but basically the main idea here is to give up from something. And the main focus is romantic interest, creativity, hobbies, entertainment. Then we have a lunar eclipse on the 21st of January. This is a more interesting lunar eclipse because the South and the North Node are in the same positions, of course, but the Sun and the Moon are in Leo and Aquarius, which will activate your 12th and 6th house. Here, what you need to focus on is the balance between your work, your responsibilities, and your personal time, how much you are resting, how much time you're spending on your own, and also to balance your health. If you have neglected your health or if you're not paying enough attention, this would be a positive time to think about it and maybe to change something as well. Also, if you're on a job which is not satisfying or things are not so positive, this may also represent ending this type of job. please pay attention where exactly those degrees are falling in your chart. Are there cusp of houses close to those degrees? Are there other planets? If you have one of the eclipses in exact conjunction with the cusp of a house or close, the impact is much, much stronger. Here I can give you a personal example. My boyfriend is a Virgo, and during 2018, he had one of those, it was a lunar eclipse during the summer in exact conjunction with the cusp of his 6th and 12th house. And the company that he worked for went bankrupt, so he lost the job. So for some people, and as I said, the lunar eclipse was in exact conjunction with the cusp of his houses. So please pay attention. That's why I have written here the exact degrees. If one of those eclipses is close to a cusp of a house or a planet, the impact is much more powerful. Next, we have another solar eclipse on the 2nd of July. 11 degrees in Cancer, but this time it's different because the North Node is here. So this is a more positive, I would say, easier eclipse, where you can get a clearer idea about the future, about what you would like to achieve, about something that you can start and can be long-lasting, especially in terms of social projects, community, friendships, communication with other people. After that, on the 16th of July, lunar eclipse, 24 degrees, Capricorn and Cancer, 5th and 11th house. When you have an opposition between 5th and 11th house, usually you need to find the balance between your interest and the interest of the community that you are part of. Also, you need to balance your romantic life and your friendships. Another option is also to balance your emotions and your mind. 5th house represents more our emotions, our heart, our desires. 11th house is a really mental house, intellectual house. So here, obviously, we need to balance this, which is not easy, but is important. And the last one, the last eclipse, again, solar eclipse, 26th of December, 5 degrees in Capricorn. The same like the one during January. South Node, this time the degree is 5 degrees. Here we had 16 degrees. So again, you might be facing with a situation from the past. You may need to let go of something. You may realize something important, and it's time to set free from something. Okay, so enough about the eclipses. These are the main dates and the main influences. Of course, don't forget that the eclipse can affect you between 6 months and 3 years after that, especially, of course, especially if the degree is close to a planet or a cusp of a house in your chart. Next, we are going to talk about the outer planets. Here, it's very important to remember that if you have one of the outer planets making exact aspect with a personal planet or crossing the house, it means to make conjunction with the cusp of a house, this will be the most important event during the whole year. That's why we need to know the exact degrees where the outer planets are going to be during the whole year, because we know that they're moving really slow. And for example, Jupiter will go through the whole sign of Sagittarius during 2019. In December, it will actually enter Capricorn. When we talk about the outer planets, we can see that they are moving through a couple of degrees during the whole year. That's why it's important to know the exact degrees. Now, about Uranus, at the beginning of the year, it's on the 28th degree in Aries. Now, this will fall in your 8th house, and basically here, here Uranus doesn't make major aspect with your Sun or Ascendant sign in Virgo. It would be important if the planet, if you have another planet or a cusp of a house here close to this degree. Generally, Uranus in 8th house can bring unexpected changes in terms of finances. There might be ups and downs. Sometimes you may earn a lot of money really fast and unexpectedly. In other cases, you may lose them overnight. So with Uranus, you have to be careful. You shouldn't take too much risks and try to be reasonable if possible. This is something which is usually easy for Virgo, so that's why it's not so scary. Around March, during March, the transit Uranus will enter Taurus, and until the end of the year, it will be on the 7th degree in Taurus. In your case, it affects 9th house, which means that it will make trine with your sun or ascendant sign. If you have your sun or ascendant sign here in the first degrees in Virgo, until the 7th, 8th degree. This is a very harmonious aspect, Uranus making trine with your sun or ascendant sign, which can bring you more variety in your life, can bring you exciting experiences, positive personal transformations, changes. So generally, this aspect can make your life extremely interesting, but not in this, bad way when you feel unstable, when you feel insecure or things are changing dramatically overnight. Usually when Uranus makes a harmonious aspect, the changes are softer, the changes are more harmonious and not so stressful. But if you would like to make a significant change in your life, personally, in your relationships, in your work, or generally you want to start something brand new, this aspect is very supportive, very harmonious, and can motivate you even more. So generally we can say Uranus is your friend during 2019. Next, we have Neptune. With Neptune, things are more complicated. As you can see, during the whole year, Neptune will be between the 14th and the 19th degree in Pisces. If you have your sun or ascendant sign somewhere between those degrees, I would say even between the 12th and the 20th degree in Virgo, this would be the most important transit for you during the whole year from everything that we've talked about so far. This is the most important. This is a major aspect. The opposition is a major aspect which can bring incredible changes. With Neptune, generally with the outer planets, we can say that it's difficult to predict things. But with Neptune, it might be especially confusing. You may feel like you are not so motivated, or you may feel like, you're not so concentrated. Very often the challenging aspects of Neptune can bring some kind of illusions, some kind of unrealistic expectations, and also disappointments. So you have to try to be more grounded. Basically, Neptune making challenging major aspect with your sun or ascendant sign, even with another personal planet, can make you really ungrounded. You may dream a lot, you may fantasize, you might be much more creative, more inspired. That's the positive side. But at the same time, you are not so much in touch with reality. So if that's your case, I highly recommend you to find some practices that will improve your connection with the ground, with the earth. There are physical exercises, there are certain gemstones, there are Bach flower remedies. Try to do something, try to, to help yourself to be more grounded. If Neptune enters your 7th house, makes conjunction with the cusp of the house, of course, it can affect your relationships. The challenging side of Neptune in this case is that it can bring love triangles. This is probably the most typical situation. Neptune in 7th house very often brings love triangles. You may fall in love with an inappropriate person, or the other thing is that you may fall in love with someone who needs you to take care of him. Sometimes this could be, something really positive, someone who really needs help, not someone who is pretending to be a victim. In other cases, someone may take advantage of you. So again, the connection with reality is very important, because with Neptune, it's difficult to see the real picture. So if you have one of those aspects, Neptune making major aspect with the sun or the moon or the ascendant, it's very important to try to be more realistic, maybe to ask other people for advices, to consult with a professional or whatever you can in order to, minimize the chances of someone else taking advantage of you. Now, enough about the challenging side of this aspect. Let's talk about the positive sides of this aspect. Neptune is the most spiritual planet, I would say. Neptune is related to religion, related to your belief system as well. And this aspect can make you really change your perspective about things. If religion is an important part in your life, Neptune can make some kind of significant shifts, can bring changes. In other cases, as we said, also about creativity, about inspiration, this aspect can be very positive. The challenge is to find the way to materialize this inspiration. And here, actually, I remember something important. During 2019, the transit Saturn will make sextile with Neptune. And Saturn is in 5th house, Neptune in 7th house. Actually, Saturn can help actually Neptune, meaning that you might be more capable of materializing this inspiration, to be able to see things a little bit to see them clearly. So Saturn helps Neptune. All of those aspects, by the way, as I told you, are included in the astrology calendar, which you can find below the video, the link I mean, and also of course the exact dates. So here I really like this combination, Saturn and Neptune in a positive connection. Okay, let's move to Pluto. During 2019, Pluto will be between the 20th and the 23rd degree in Capricorn in your 5th house. So generally speaking, we don't expect Pluto to bring challenges for Virgo. Of course, if the cusp of your 5th house is here close to those degrees, so basically if Pluto is about to enter the house during the year, you may feel really strong the impact of this transit. Pluto in 5th house can bring incredibly passionate love and romantic relationships. Sometimes they might be so strong that they can become like obsessive interest or such a deep emotional connection, passionate sexual connection with another person. Also, when we talk about creativity, Pluto can also help you to be more capable to influence or to have an impact over other people. So Pluto in 5th house generally makes things more spicy, more interesting, more exciting, sometimes too much. Sometimes the risk here is that if Pluto is about to enter the house, if you have grown-up children, for example, there might be some kind of confrontations. For example, very often when we have teenagers, because Pluto generally rules this age when we are teenagers. That's the time when Pluto is activated. And this is the time when children think that they are already grown-ups and they start fighting with their parents very often, not always, but very often. So if Pluto enters your 5th house or makes major aspect with the planet here in 5th house, sometimes it indicates that your children are growing up, they're trying to confront you, they're trying to be more independent. But generally speaking, we don't expect Pluto to be really difficult for you during 2019. So basically, as I already said, from the outer planets, Neptune is the most important one for you in case that you have cusp of a house or planet here between those degrees. Okay, guys, so this is the most important part. Now we are moving to the other stuff, which brings more information on a monthly basis. Okay. Yeah, I see people who have Sun and Ascendant in Virgo. Of course, this prediction is about everyone with Sun and Ascendant in Virgo. Okay, guys, so now we have to talk about the transits of Mars. Mars is very important for us because it represents our personal will, our actions, and it charges us with more energy. So if you find out where the transit Mars is currently in your chart, it may give you information about where you can be more motivated to focus on something, where you can compete with others, where sometimes you might be more impatient, sometimes you might confront with others, also an option when we talk about Mars. But for example, if you're planning to start a business or to do something important or a new project or education or whatever is important to you, the transits of Mars can show you basically what can boost your confidence and how you can achieve more. So at the beginning of the year, from the 1st of January until the 13th of February, the transit Mars is in Aries in your 8th house. Generally, this is a strong position for Mars. Mars is one of the rulers of 8th house. We shouldn't forget about this. Mars in 8th house can make you more focused on mutual finances, on some kind of transformation, serious changes. Sometimes it can bring the desire to take more risks. Mars in 8th house can make us sometimes, take even reckless risks. So be more careful with some kind of sports or things which can possibly harm your body, or with financial losses or too impulsive decisions in this area during this time. After that, from the 14th of February until the 30th of March, Mars is in your 9th house, a very positive, supportive position. Mars is trining your Sun or Ascendant sign, which can motivate you more, can make you braver, more confident. When we talk about 9th house, of course, we have to mention education, traveling, great time to go to some kind of exams or to go on a business trip or something which, requires more effort. But generally speaking, a positive impact. After that, another important period from the 31st of March until the 14th of May. The transit Mars is in your 10th house. 10th house is really important, probably the most important house after your first house, after your ascendant, because it shows your results, what you're achieving. So here with Mars in 10th house, your efforts might be visible for other people. You may have more visible results. Also, you might be willing to compete with others. For work, this is very important. New business, new projects. Sometimes it can bring possible confrontations, especially with people who have more power, can make you more impatient when it comes to work and business and, some kind of social project. But generally speaking, I think that especially if you're willing to achieve something, if you want to put efforts, this is very, very supportive period. After that, from the 15th of May until the 30th of June, Mars is in your 11th house. And here, Mars will join the North Node. So important position. And this is a time to focus on some social goals, some social causes or ideals or anything that includes other people, communities, friendships, doing something together with others as a team, as part of the team. So very important period if you want to do something together with others. After that, a different period from the 1st of July until the 17th of August. Mars is in 12th house. Here you need to slow down. 12th house is not material house. It doesn't represent visible things. On the other hand, Mars is about action and visible results. So we don't have harmony between the nature of the house and the sign. That's why sometimes we may feel kind of stuck or not so motivated. Sometimes we may feel more lazy. But the truth is that with Mars in 12th house, it's a normal transit, it's a regular transit. It happens once in 2 years for everyone. And this would be a great time just to relax, to slow down, maybe to work on something on your own without necessarily, making this visible or, without others knowing about this. And preparing, recharging yourself, doing something which, doesn't require so much physical effort. After that, we have a very big shift from the 18th of August until the 2nd of October. Mars enters Virgo, which for you guys is great news. We know that Mars is naturally associated to this house. So it's very powerful transit, very supportive for new activities. You may feel braver, you may feel more confident, more motivated. Sometimes the desire to compete with others might be really strong, which can bring possible confrontations. Some people may take bigger risks. Of course, here it's important, what's your personality, how you react to things. Generally, Mars in Virgo is not so impulsive, but it depends on your chart as well. But if you would like to start brand new things, if you want to take the initiative to do something, to change something, Mars in first house, Mars in conjunction with your Sun or Ascendant can really help you and can bring you more energy as well. After that, from the 3rd of October until the 18th of November, Mars is in second house. Great time to put efforts in something which is practical, something which will bring you visible results, something which can improve your financial situation. Money can be an important topic here. Sometimes, if something triggers your second house, you may want to spend more money. It's not necessarily something bad, but just, don't take reckless decisions. If you have planned, if you want to buy something, Mars in second house, of course, can support you. But sometimes we may take impulsive decisions, financial decisions with Mars in second house. And the last transit from the 19th of November until January, Mars is in third house, which can really motivate you to contact with other people, to connect, to meet new people, to work with some kind of information. Traveling is also an option here. Putting efforts to learn something, to have new skills, also an option here. Try to, be more patient when you're communicating with others, because sometimes Mars in third house can bring possible confrontations. But generally speaking, the beginning and the end of the year is very strong for Mars because it's in Aries and Scorpio, the signs of its rulership. Okay, so next we have another important topic, especially for you. We are going to talk about Mercury retrograde. The good news is that Mars and Venus won't be retrograde during 2019. They both were retrograde during 2018. So this time we have a rest. But with Mercury, as usual, it's retrograde 3 or 4 times. This time it's only 3 times. And Mercury as a ruler of your sign, of course, is more important, as I already said. So please pay attention to those days. The first period between the 5th and the 27th of March. Mercury is retrograde between the 30th and the 17th degree in Pisces in your 7th house. So very important for your relationships. Don't take important decisions. Not a positive time for brand new relationships. On the other hand, of course, old relationships could be restarted, but your judgments or your assessments, evaluations of the situation may not be so accurate. And keep in mind that here, while Mercury is retrograde in Pisces in 7th house, at some point it will join Neptune as well. And we already talked about the possible challenges that Neptune can bring. So the best thing you can do is to avoid the important decisions which include other people. Definitely not a positive time for marriage or planning something really, really important. which includes partnerships and relationships. And generally, there might be more messy, more unclear situations. The next transit, the next retrograde phase between the 7th and the 30th of July. This time Mercury is retrograde in Leo and then it goes back to Cancer, which means that it will affect your 12th and 11th house. First of all, when Mercury is retrograde in 12th house, usually it's not related to something concrete or visible or practical. On an inner level, you may have some repeating thoughts, something from the past might come back, memories. Generally, secret information may also appear on the surface, but it's not so significant. After that, the second half of this period, Mercury is in 11th house, which means that you need to be more careful when you're communicating with others, with friendships, communities, group activities. Not the best time for brand new projects, which include other people. And the last transit of Mercury retrograde between the 31st of October and the 19th of November. This time, Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio between the 28th and the 12th degree. Again, I would like to remind you that you have to find out whether you have a planet or cusp of house between those degrees. If you have one of those, then this transit will be more important for you. And of course, it depends on the nature of the aspect. If you have a positive aspect, then you can expect more positive events, of course. So the last transit of Mercury retrograde is in your third house, which means more attention when you communicate with others, with the information. Be very careful when you're planning traveling or some kind of meetings or negotiations. Generally speaking, this is not a positive time for negotiations. And also, please pay attention that Mercury will be retrograde in your 7th, 11th, and 3rd house. And each year, basically, Mercury is retrograde. There are certain cycles. So it's not a coincidence that only the air houses are affected in your chart. And it means that during 2019, one of the important topics might be to reevaluate how you communicate with other people. Your relationships, not necessarily romantic, it could be friendships, it could be communication with co-workers, but how you connect with others, how you respond to their requests, or everything which includes connections. So please remember those days. And we are moving to the next part, which is, well, more positive and easier. Okay, it's about the transits of the sun. Okay. So, what's the difference between Mars and the Sun? They are both fire planets, but Mars requires some kind of efforts. Mars requires work. Mars can bring sometimes anger, can bring impatience. The Sun is more about pleasant stuff. The Sun is more about enjoying things. And usually the transits of the Sun are easier. And they can show you which area of your life will be important and actually would be positive for you to focus on for approximately 1 month. In the beginning, we have, as usual, the transit sun in Capricorn, which is very positive for you guys because it's in your 5th house and it makes trine with your sun or ascendant sign. This is a great transit to focus on your personal life. Now we have to remember that here we also have the south node, but even in this case, this is still a positive transit to maybe take a rest, maybe to do something pleasant, to pay attention to something which is more creative, or to spend time with children, or also to focus on your romantic life. After that, from the 20th of January until the 17th of February, the transit sun is in 6th house. And this is a great transit to focus more on work, responsibilities, new career projects, maybe communication with coworkers, basically more business-oriented stuff. So here, the first part is more about entertainments. Then we have a period to focus more on work and obligations. After that, from the 18th of February until the 19th of March, the transit sun is in 7th house. Great time to focus on relationships, on communication with other people. Some people may start a new relationship, or somebody may support them, or, for example, it might be related even to business partnerships. So generally, as we said, connecting with others can bring you benefits. Again, I would like to remind you that the North Node is in your 11th house during the whole year. So with other people or through other people, you can achieve more. And when the sun also triggers 7th house, a house related to others, of course, you can achieve even more. After that, from the 20th of March until the 19th of April, the sun is in 8th house. Time to focus on more serious stuff. You might be more emotional, sometimes concerned about certain things. This is not one of the pleasant or, well, really easy periods, this one here. But of course, we all go through those events during the year. It would be a positive time to focus on finances, maybe some kind of investments, maybe something which includes support from other people, especially in terms of some kind of resources. And after that, from the 20th of April until the 20th of March, very positive transit when the sun is in your ninth house and will make trine with your sign. Basically, the sun is in Taurus here. Great time when you might be more optimistic, more positive. Great time for new goals, for dreaming about the future, for setting up some new goals. Also for traveling, this is a great transit for trips and education as well. From the 21st of May until the 20th of June, also important transit with the sun in 10th house. Time for achievements, career success, time to focus on your reputation, positive period for a new business or a new career project or something which includes communicating with people who have more power. And again, I would like to remind you, when the sun is in 10th house, your efforts are more visible for others. Both, not only efforts, but actions. And everything positive and negative is much more likely to be noticed by others. So use it in a positive way. From the 21st of June until the 21st of July, the sun is in Cancer in your 11th house. Here it will join also the North Node, so important position. Important for social projects, for communities, for friends, for social causes, and basically everything that we already talked about. Here, this topic is really, really activated. Then from the 22nd of July until the 22nd of August, the sun is in 12th house. Time to slow down, time to reassess the past. Basically, time when you may not be so motivated. You might be tired of something or sometimes even frustrated. So don't rush things. Don't criticize yourself. Just take a rest and prepare for the new beginning, which comes after the 23rd of August until the 22nd of September. The sun is in Virgo. One of the most important transits. If you have your sun sign in Virgo, this would be the time of your birthday and the new solar return chart, which defines the next 1 year personally for you. So very significant time. And also time when you might be recharged, you might be more motivated, you may want to start new things, you may feel more energized, more optimistic. You may want to, socialize more, to attract more attention. So basically, for everything that you would like to do, this is a positive transit. After that, from the 23rd of September until the 22nd of October, the sun is in second house. Time to focus on practical stuff. Time to achieve results. When the sun is in first house, it's time to start the things, to to focus on the new activities or ideas. So here the main focus is taking action. When the sun is in second house, the main focus is on achieving results, creating something visible, something measurable. So here it would be a great time also to focus on material stuff, including finances. After that, from the 23rd of October until the 21st of November, the sun is in your third house. Great position for socializing with more people, for new contacts, negotiations, trips, education, just, enjoying the time with your friends. Also new ideas which you can apply or you can, transform in some way. And also for intellectual work, this is a great transit. From the 22nd of November until the 20th of December, the sun is in fourth house. And this is a great time to focus on personal stuff, family issues, or to communicate more with your family members, or just to relax and, just enjoy spending more time at home, focusing on your private stuff, on your personal life, without necessarily working so hard or trying too hard or doing things so much for others. Here the most important part is how you feel and also how you connect with your closest people. And the last few days of the year, after the 21st of December, the sun is again in Capricorn, again very positive position, because it will be in fifth house. It will make trine with your sun and ascendant sign. So great time for entertainment and hobbies and doing the things that you love, or being with the people that you love. So as I repeat really often, fifth house is very, very positive. And we have only one slide left, which is the most positive. Here we have the transits of Venus during the whole year and how they can affect you. These are short-lasting influences. They can't change dramatically your life, but they may help you to feel better about certain areas of your life and can help you to improve those areas, especially if you would like to plan something positive, like a trip, vacation, a celebration, or time to relax, or time to be with your family. The transits of Venus might be very helpful. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, we have the transit Venus in Scorpio in your third house until the 6th of January. Very positive for communicating with people, for negotiations, to enjoy traveling somewhere or just connecting with others. After that, from the 7th of January until the 2nd of February, Venus is in your fourth house, which is a great time to be more with your family, with the people that you love, to, improve something at home or just to take a rest. When Venus is in fourth house, you may just feel really comfortable to be at home. After that, from the 3rd of February until the 28th, Venus is in your fifth house, one of those great transits here, when you may focus more on the things that you love. You may enjoy more your personal life. For romantic relationships, this is a great transit. For communicating with children, for art, for creativity, whether you create it or you're just enjoying it, it doesn't matter. Very, very positive transit. Plus, remember that when Venus is here in Capricorn, it makes trine with with Virgo. So very, very positive. From the 1st of March until the 25th, Venus is in 6th house, which is a great transit for your work. This is not a transit which can make you highly motivated or ambitious to achieve things. Usually, Venus brings relaxation or positive feelings and emotions, but without working hard for that. So Venus in sixth house doesn't mean that you will be really productive at work, but you may enjoy the time. You may enjoy the process. You may improve your relationship with coworkers or with clients, or you may just feel more comfortable at the office. After that, from the 26th of March until the 19th of April, Venus is in seventh house. Very important transit. Venus is the natural ruler of this house. Great influence for your personal life, for relationships, meeting new people, going on a new date. If you are married or in a serious relationship, Venus in seventh house can help you to reconnect with your partner or to express your emotions. Then from the 20th of April until the 14th of May, Venus is in 8th house. Emotionally, this is not an easy transit, but it would be positive for some financial issues. You may receive support from others. You can buy some stuff or you can make some small investments. So generally, resources is a main topic here. From the 15th of May until the 7th of June, we have another positive position. Venus in ninth house, trining your sun or ascendant sign. Great time for traveling, trips. Great time also when you may enjoy communicating with people from different cultures or different places, and just you may enjoy to dream about something or to plan something for your future. The next transit is also important. From the 8th of June until the 2nd of July, Venus is in 10th house. So positive for your work, for your career. It would be easier for others to like you and to appreciate you, especially when it comes to your work and the things that you are creating, when Venus is in 10th house. Also, communication with authority figures, people who have more power, is easier and more successful. And of course, for business negotiations, this is a great transit as well. Then from the 3rd of July until the 22nd of July, Venus is in 11th house together with the North Node. So wonderful time to connect with other people, social activities, group activities, your community, your friends. They may help you, they may show you emotional support. So one of the great transits, and especially the fact that the North Node is here. It may show you an important direction about the future or what you should do or change. Then from the 27th of July until the 20th of August, Venus is in 12th house. Time for reassessments. Not so active period for entertainments or for new relationships or new dates. Generally, this might be a more passive period. On the other hand, you may enjoy to stay more on your own when you are alone, just to relax, maybe read a nice book or just to feel comfortable when you are alone. And the next transit is extremely positive. From the 21st of August until the 13th of September, Venus is in Virgo in your first house. Great transit which can help you to be more attractive, to connect with others emotionally, about relationships, about your appearance. This is a great transit. Also, something I think we forget sometimes with Venus in the first house, one of the important lessons is to learn to appreciate and to love yourself. And many people think this is selfish, this is wrong, this is not important. It is important. If you want to have a healthy relationship with another person or to improve it or to create it, if you don't love yourself, you won't be able to allow another person to love you as well. So Venus in your first house can be a good reminding transit for that. From the 14th of September until the 7th of October, we have Venus in your second house. Positive transit for finances, positive for your resources, You may enjoy to spend money on something, to buy something nice for yourself. And also here, you may focus on practical stuff. Then from the 8th of October until the 31st of October, Venus is in third house, helping you to harmonize your communication, your relationship with others, and also for negotiations for traveling. This is a great transit. The next one from the 1st of November until the 24th of November, Venus is in your fourth house. When Venus is in fourth house, again, this is great for communication with family members, improving the atmosphere at home, feeling more comfortable or relaxed when you're alone or with family. And the next one, from the 25th of November until the 19th of December, Venus is in your fifth house. Great for love, great for romances, for entertainments and hobbies, and communication with children. The last transit, and yeah, here we have a positive, important transit, and the last one after the 20th of December, Venus is in sixth house again, positive for work, communication with co-workers, with clients, and feeling comfortable when you work in general. I want to add something which I think is important about fifth house. We talked about Saturn and the South Node in your fifth house at the beginning of this reading, and we mentioned love, romances, entertainment, hobbies, creativity, children, which are all related to your fifth house. But there is also one thing that sometimes we forget. Fifth house is also related to your expenses. Second house and eighth house are the financial houses. Second house represents how much you earn with your efforts. But when it comes to spending money, especially about something which is more expensive, fifth house is extremely important. So with Saturn and the South Node in your fifth house during 2019, you have to be more careful with your expenses. Don't buy things that you don't need. That's one piece of advice I just remembered. And let's return back to our positive transits. The last thing that we have to mention is about the luckiest days during 2019. They are defined by the most positive aspect combinations or conjunctions. During 2019, we have one conjunction between the Sun and Venus. On the 14th of August, 22 degrees in Leo in your 12th house. To be honest with you, this transit may not bring something material or something visible for you, but it could be very positive about how you feel on an inner level, how you feel when you're alone, how you feel about your past. So for your personal comfort, emotionally, psychologically, this period might be very, very positive. The next two conjunctions, which are basically the same but happening two times, January 22nd and November 24th, Venus is in conjunction with Jupiter in your fourth house. The first time the exact conjunction is on the 17th degree, the second time 29th degree. Both of the cases, Jupiter and Venus are in fourth house. This is a fantastic transit for your personal life, for harmonizing relationship with family members, for settling down, feeling really happy to be at home, to be with your closest people. Or for some people, this might be also beneficial for property issues, for investments. But generally, these are one of the luckiest days during 2019. So this is the end of our 2019 extensive horoscope for Virgo. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please don't forget to watch also your Sun and Ascendant sign. All of the videos will be available during the whole year on my channel. You can always come back for more details or to remind yourself something. And also don't forget the 2019 astrology calendar is available. The link is below. Basically, you will have all of the days of the important major aspects between the planets, the interpretation, heliacal phases of the planets, which is an ancient method for defining the best periods to start something, and more information. Thank you so much. I hope you as a Virgo appreciate how I have tried to, put everything in tables. I know it's not, well, so beautiful, but I tried really hard. So thank you very much again. And yeah, I will see you really soon. Take care and have a wonderful 2019.